Hello Milky friends, it is Milkstew here with you for another Idle Heroes video. It is 8 minutes and 40 seconds to go until the prep phase for the new Guild Wall ends, and then we enter the battle phase. And so I've been umming and ahhing about the best way to deploy my teams across the fort. And so we've currently gone with a balanced strategy whereby we basically try and balance out the power of every single fort, ensuring that, we haven't stacked certain forts, and that every fort has around 1.3 million power, at least, or 1.4 million power. So you can see here, we've stacked 2 weak players up front, along with an okay player, 2 medium level players. This is arguably not fair because there's a medium level player and a high level player, but you've seen we stacked 2 weak players here with a very, very strong player, 3 medium level teams. So we've tried to balance it all out, right? So 2 weak ones and a pretty strong one. Actually, I might try and move you with you. And so the other thing to note about moving people around in fort deployments, or moving people around the fort. I'm doing this on BlueStacks. That's why when I click on it, it's so easy to move people around. If you do it on the phone, it's actually a bit harder. So the trick is, and I posted it on Reddit and someone suggested it, but you got to click on the player and then you got to click on the screen again. Like, it's a 2-finger approach if you want to try and move people. Like, it's super hard. It's not an intuitive design. It's a very poor design. With BlueStacks, it's super easy. You just click on the name and then wherever you want to move that person, it's automatic. So I don't know why they didn't do this. And I don't know why BlueStacks, it's easy to move people around, but it just is. Anyway, in terms of the strategy, in terms of for deploying people, I mean, umming and ahhing, because I've been trying to work out how people get points, and it looks like you get points based on the number of battles you win in a fort. So if a fort, what you absolutely do not want to do is stack a fort with 3 weak players. Like, so anyone, like, for example, for me, with 400,000, is it all 4 million power, right? I don't want to stack 3 of them in one fort because that's just going to be easy pickings. Because what I would do then as an attacker, if I see a fort stacked with weak people, I would buff the hell out of that fort when I attack, and I would just make everyone attack that fort. So if you stack a fort with weak players, like 3 of them, everyone's going to try and attack that, right? Everyone's eventually going to work out, hang on, that's where the points are. Because if you then look at, say, a fort with 2 people, what would you rather? Attack a fort with 2 medium players or 3 weak players, right? Everyone's going to go for the 3 weak players, simply because there's 3 of them there, and then that I can get a maximum number of points. Whereas if there's only a fort with 1 or 2 people, right, there's no real incentive to attack that, because I only get, say, you only get 100 points per battle win, right? So if there's only 1 person in the fort, you probably want to avoid attacking that fort because you only get a maximum of 100 points. But if that fort has more people, you want to attack that and you want to buff the hell out of that fort to get the maximum number of points, if that makes sense. So then, what does that mean in terms of defense? Well, in terms of defense, I think it basically means, especially when I see the screen on Reddit, the weakest enemy appears first on list when you attack, right? It basically means you do not want to stack all the weak players in one guild or into one particular fort. And so, like, what I've done here, where I've done 2 weak and a strong, that's arguably not the smartest strategy. You basically, I think, want to split the weak players to reduce the number of points that they get. So what I mean by that is, it's probably better for me to do this and just accept that they're gonna win this easily. Simply because if they attack this fort, they'll win against this player, and that's it. They'll just win the 1 battle, and that's the maximum number of points that you're going to get. Whereas if they're going to be put off by attacking these stronger ones, with just where I've stacked if they want to go for maximum number of points, they're going to have to attack the fort with 3 people. And if it's going to have 3 people, I want my 3 strongest players. Whereas if they only attack, just say, this fort, right? There are some forts I'm just going to give away, and they're going to absolutely win this. There's no way this guy can win against any team. Well, he might be able to defend against 1 or 2 teams, but it's just like a throwaway. You're only going to get 100 points. I lose maximum of 100 points if anyone attacks this particular fort. Whereas if I stack it full of strong players, hopefully they're not going to be incented to attack it, and then I save myself from giving away 300 points, if that makes sense. So that's my strategy right now. I'm going to put all the strong players onto one particular fort, or pair them together, and then the weak, I'm going to just give some forts away. That's my current thinking. So if I go here, then I move you to basically here. All right, so who are the weak ones? I'll stack you here. Mysterious, I'll swap with Zong. There we go. So I think there are some just giveaway forts where there's just basically, if you want it, you can have it. I know I'm not going to win. And so that's my thinking in terms of defense. So we've got 3 minutes to go. 1, 2, 400, 520. Hank, you can come here. All right. So this is my kind of my not going to say throwaway fort, or maybe yeah. So that's a throwaway fort. That's a throwaway fort. That's a throwaway fort. Maybe I should spread some of the power around some of the stronger ones. Yes. So you can move here. It's getting close. There's 2 minutes to go. See, I'm not comfortable about this one because this is 3 weak players stacked together. So we do you to here. That sort of evens it out a bit. But then if we go you with our strongest player, that makes me feel a little less nauseous. 450, 414. I think that's as good as I'm going to get it, honestly. 46. I'll swap with you. Swap you with you. See, that's reasonable. See, so the ones that have 3 players, you want, I guess, just as strong as you can get those players, as strong as team as possible. You want to give them a hard time, right? You want them to attack these giveaway forts because they're only worth 100 points each. Whereas the ones that you stack with 3 people, like, you want to make it as hard for them as possible to get the maximum number of points, if that makes sense. Because when you attack, you can only... I'm just going to click OK. Because when you attack, right, there's 19 seconds to go. This is good. So because when you attack, you can only use your heroes on 1 fort a day. You cannot reuse those heroes on different forts, right? So hopefully that makes sense. So if they waste their heroes on giveaway forts, that's just not a smart thing to do. So there we go. That is the Guild War prep phase, and now into the attack phase. Settlement, please try again later. Okay, so I'll see you again in 20 minutes when this all changes, but hopefully I haven't completely fucked up my guild. Okay, Guild War has just opened up. It's now battle phase. We've just done the prep phase. And truth be told, I fucked up. I actually recorded this video. This is the second time recording this video because I've already used my buffs and decided which guilds to attack. So basically, during the battle phase, obviously this opens up and you can see the ones I've already challenged, but effectively, if you ignore the fact that I've already challenged a couple, basically what you want to do is you want to go into each one of these forts. This is what I did. I counted the number of players as well as the average power, and that should immediately give you a sense of which ones to focus on, because remember, you want to attack... the goal here is to get the maximum number of points. So you want to attack the guild with the most number of players for the least amount of with the least amount of power, if that kind of makes sense, right? That's what's going through my mind. Find the guild with the most number of players with the least amount of power. And so using the averages is kind of useful as a first blush, but the reality is you got to go away and fucking count exactly how many weak players there are in each guild or each fort that your team can beat and attack. And then for those forts with the most amount of weak players that your guild can beat and attack, you want to buff the fuck out of it, right? So I buffed the fuck out of Frozen Cavern. I've used my 5 buffs here, and then I've also used 5 buffs basically at Home of Blacksmith. And so I'll show you what I did in terms of looking for weak forts to attack, right? So this fort, for example, 9 players, 3.5 million powers. I basically counted the number of teams with less than 3 million power because I figure any team with less than 3 million power, given where my server is right now, basically everyone's got a 4 million power team. I figure anyone that's got 3 and less million power team, my guys can beat, right? So for me, it was about counting the number of teams with less than 3 million power and kind of ignoring the average power they have up here because averages skew. If you're good at math or you know about math, averages skew the true picture of what's going on underneath, right? For example, if we go and look at this guild, right? For example, this guy, they've got like a guy with 499,000 power, 117,000 power, and you know that skews the results heavily because then on the opposite end, you got guys with 4.2, 4.2, 4.1 million power. So they've got a lot of weak players, but they also have a couple of strong players on here as well. So that's the only thing to be mindful of averages. That's why it's easier rather than relying on averages, these just high level averages and at first blush. You have to go in and physically count how many weak players there are in each fort, right? So that's exactly what I did. So with this fort, I was like, how many players are there less than 3 million? So like 1, 2, 3, right? So we're not going to attack that one. This one, 1, 2, 3, 4, not going to attack that one. This one, 1, 2, not going to attack that one. This one, come on. As soon as my connection decides not to die. 1, 2, and that's it. So we're not going to attack that one. This one, 1, 2, so we're not going to attack that one. This one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great. So we might attack this one. But the next highest one after number 6 is 4 million power. So keep that in mind, right? 6 less than 3 million, and then the one after is 4 million. So this one, 1, 2, 3, that's it. We're not going to attack that one. Even though it's a challenge. I'll explain why I challenged it later. 1, 2, 3, that's it. We're not going to attack that one. This one, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players less than 3 million power, and then the next one is 3.2. So that one is theoretically better than this one because you get 6 less than 3 million power, and then the next highest one is 4 mil. So it's quite a highest jump, right? So now I'm thinking about the 7th battle to win. So then if we look at this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 less than 3 million power, and the next immediate one after the 6th one, the 7th battle, 3.6 million power. So in order of attacking preference, obviously, you can tell where I put my buffs, right? The first 6 less than 3 million power, and then the 7th one, whichever has the lowest power, is the 2 forts that I concentrated on. Because where my server is right now, right, most of my guys can handle 1 max 2 guilds. They cannot handle 3. I took on 3 because there's only 3 guys in my guild that can handle 3 attacking 3 forts, right? So like I'm not gonna count for those guys, right? But for everyone else, the people that can handle 1 or 2 attacks, that's where I stacked all my buffs, right? So you can see here, this is where I stacked all my buffs in 2 areas, and then because I had enough players to attack a 3rd and 4th guild, I basically concentrated on this one because it had the next number of 6 the next set of 6 sort of heroes or of opponents that had less than 3 million power was this one, and then this one I attacked last because I had a couple of 9, 8 stars left, and this team was the weakest, right? So only won 1 battle out of 10, and so that's basically my attack strategy. And I think everyone's going to very quickly arrive at the same attack strategy. I don't see how it would be different for anyone else. So obviously, once you've attacked, you put the fort down. As the guild leader or the officials, once you put the buffs down, you basically want to tell people in what order to attack. So basically I said attack forts in this order: Frozen Cavern, Earthrealm or Home of Blacksmith, Earthrealm or Home of Blacksmith. So number 2 and 3 were like kind of equal, even though I applied a whole bunch of buffs to this one, and you would have naturally thought Home of Blacksmith over this one. For some strange reason, this one without buffs, I won way more battles than this one, where I didn't win quite as many with the buffs. I don't know why, what the fuck went on, but it would appear as if the final 3 teams on Home of Blacksmith are just like super hard, whereas here, one of these teams or a couple of these teams I managed to beat. So it's just weird. Even with buffs, I couldn't beat the last 3 teams, but then this one without buffs, I managed to beat way more teams. So more than 6 basically. It's just funny. I might have fucked up the buffs, but basically if you do the buffs, you got to tell people where you put the buffs and how to attack, and hopefully they fucking listen. I'll be very upset if they don't listen. So I've sent on Guild Chat, I sent people this message. So I said attack of any forts only. And then we welcome a new player to our guild. Welcome VIP. I don't know why you didn't join us earlier. You could have participated in Guild War. And then I told them specifically in which order to attack. I also sent them a message on the Guild War messaging system. Or not the guild, yeah, the guild messaging system. So then everyone was familiar. Hopefully this guide is useful for you. I mean, this is my thoughts on defense and attack strategy. I don't know if it applies to you as well. Hopefully you found that useful. It seems like I was wrong about defense, because when it comes to defense, it looks like they basically mix up everyone that you face from all the different guilds into one fort. I didn't realize that. I thought it was basically just you, that you're like your heroes in these forts. It's not the case. They're mixing up everyone else's heroes. So in that case, you know, all I said about defense earlier on in the video, it actually doesn't apply. You're better off mixing it up than you are just spreading around everyone. Because on the assumption that everyone else spreads around their teams as well, then there won't be any easy forts or hard forts, right? Anyway, that is the video from me. Hope you found that useful. If you did, please leave a thumbs up. If you didn't, then leave a thumbs down. I'm not going to be a sourpuss about it. But I hope you have a great day and enjoy the new Guild War format. I think it's quite exciting. Everyone gets to participate. That's it from me. Thanks, guys.